Welcome to the show today. I'm Jessica Lawrence. I'm here with Denton City Lifestyle magazine, and this is our first podcast for Denton City Lifestyle. Today we're discussing something really near and dear to my heart, which is bringing something meaningful to right where we live within our community. And here I am joined with two business founders that are doing exactly that by helping to shape people's stories within our community. I have Thomas Tonkin, the publisher and owner of Denton City Lifestyle. Thomas, thank you for being with us.
Happy to be here. Excited about this.
And his medium is in both print and digital. I also have Houston Rogers, the founder and owner of the podcast trailer.
Yes, sir.
Houston, thanks for being with us.
Good to be here.
All right, every good story has a great origin or a why behind it. So I'd kind of like to start there with the two of you. Thomas, I'll begin with you.
Okay.
When Denton City Lifestyle was just a dream or a thought, what was it that made you feel this would be a good fit for Denton and the Lake Cities?
Wow. So I definitely would say that all good origin stories start with that why. And to agree with that, for Michelle and I, my wife who she and I own this together, it has definitely been a God thing. You have to understand, for us, faith runs so many things in our life. We don't haphazardly choose anything. And it's been a lot of meaningful prayer. And honestly, at that time, we were coming back from a trip, just my wife and I, hanging out. And it was great. We were up in Broken Bow, seeking the Lord, kind of like a digital detox. And we're like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had a business that was us? She's like, what does that look like? And I'm like, I don't know, but it would be really fun. So we're praying about it. And I'd run across this before in a previous deal when I was looking for work and I had my resume out on Indeed. So my resume is on Indeed, and randomly City Lifestyle's like, hey, have you thought about being a publisher? And I'm like, no. Have you seen my resume? In what world would you put publishing with that? Like, no. Listen, you're a business manager. You get business. And I'm like, I do get business. They go, hire people for those things. I'm like, speak something that makes sense to me. We think you'd be a great franchise owner, and we have territory right where you're at. Would you be open to that? I am open to that. A few phone calls happen. It's pretty exciting. I'm getting excited, but we're in the middle of building a custom-made home to move my parents in. My father had dementia. My mom has some medical challenges, and it's during COVID. To say that that was a bridge too far is a huge understatement. Mm-hmm. So I'm praying about it. God's like, son, why don't you just wait on that? Waiting turned into the next day. I know you said wait, but can I see it one more time? I just want to look at it. Just let me look at that opportunity. So I go to look at it, and my notes are gone, and my emails are gone, and I can't find the phone number, and suddenly I can't remember the name of the company. For 2 years, this thing haunts me, and there we are in Broken Bow talking about that thing, and she's like, babe, you don't know the name of the company. You have an idea about it. You don't even know how to reach them. We get home from the digital detox, open up the email. City Lifestyle, 2 years later. Hey, you still interested in this? We got a territory right where you're at. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Michelle goes, why don't you look up on your email and see if the other emails populate? Because you couldn't find them before. Mm-hmm. They all populated.
Wow.
2 years, Google had possession of these emails. They should have been there. I can't find them. Now I look and they populate. I get all these aviation magazines because I'm a pilot. And she's like, okay. Search magazine. Only City Lifestyle populates. Okay, God, you're speaking. What's up? Mm-hmm. So we dive off into this thing. And suddenly we realize this is the community we love. We go to church here. Our children attend school here. My daughter ended up going to UNT here. And they're offering us the zip codes where we live, 7, which is a complete number. And I'm just going, okay, we got to do this because if we don't write the narrative, if we don't tell that story, who's going to say it? Somebody is. Someone's going to buy that. So why not us? This is an amazing community. It deserves a good story.
That's exactly right. And it just sounds like all the stars aligned at the right time for you. Why Denton specifically? And did you see a gap there as far as storytelling?
You know, for us, we think about, I graduated UNT, Michelle graduated TWU. We've got history here in Denton. I got my private pilot's license at Denton Airport. I've been around Denton. And when I moved back to Denton, it's changed. All cities change. They adapt, they grow. Progression happens. But what I didn't see was there's no high-end publication or narrative in Denton. We don't have that. We don't have something that's luxury, that's taking businesses, being excited about those businesses, then telling their stories in an intimate way and sharing it with the community that's just that different. What Denton City Lifestyle brings is an elegant touch that was missing. And what's strange to me about that is there are so many great things in Denton and the Lake Cities. Hickory Creek has the Olana. That is the second largest home in the entire state of Texas in our community. Like, you're talking about some amazing high-end luxury things. Why aren't we communicating with a publication that represents, honors that, and then excites our community and says, hey, let's rally around each other and let's circle those dollars right here in this community?
Absolutely. I feel like you have become really a connector between Denton and the Lake Cities. And as we can see, we have all of our issues out here. You're 4 issues in now.
That's right.
It dropped in November. Whenever you're sort of going through and picking out what stories you want to tell and kind of formulating the magazine, what would you say you're looking for? What does a great issue of Denton Lifestyle Magazine look like to you?
The truth is, a story is bigger than what your business does. Like, if I'm going to tell you the ins and outs of what it takes to run a magazine and to have the social media platforms and to utilize that, it's exciting because you want to market who you are and brand yourself in this community. That's great. It's the heart behind it. So why don't we tell the stories of these amazing businesses? Some of these businesses, they're in their 3rd generation handed down. Some of these businesses are brand new. And when you know what it took to get that business off the ground and you share that story, that's powerful.
It
so
truly is.
You need to dig a little deeper to know that business is why. And then tell that story. Because the community needs to understand they didn't turn the light switch on and make money. They probably lost money for a while. And yet we go there and we enjoy the services they provide or the products they sell. Why not tell that story? Share it. People want to read about that.
That's right. There's always something really personal and really powerful behind each of these stories. And as I've been writing them just in the last 4 issues, I'm the editor. I feel like I've learned with every story and I've been inspired with every single one.
Yeah. You bring their stories to life. Even one of our clients recently was like, how do I take who I am and put that in so many words? And over, he's working with you. He's like, Jessica's amazing. This is phenomenal, but I can't shrink my book anymore.
Right.
This is me. I don't know how do I say who I am and what I do, but I don't know how to do that. And Jessica steps in, goes, let me try. Presents him a whole story, and he's like, that's who I am. But you did it in less words and got to the root and the point of what I'm trying to say. That's the beauty of a team.
It's such a privilege to be able to do that. And I found that many people think they don't have an interesting story, but they really do. And once you start pulling on those strings, it really comes out and it's really powerful.
Amen.
So thank you for sharing that. Houston, we'd love to touch on your business, which is really so exciting and so groundbreaking for the Denton area.
We need it.
Yes, we really, truly do. It's the podcast trailer, which is it still in the makings? Tell me where you are with everything.
So Sydney, my wife and I, we launched the business to the public in January. So January 2nd was like, okay, we're officially going to be doing this. And the trailer part of the business, which is the flagship model of it, is not actually ready yet. It's being built by our friends at Texas Custom Trailers in Decatur. So shout out to Wade and Dylan, those guys over there, doing a good job. We had to have everything was very spick and, spec. Everything was to spec because we had a whole idea, and we went with them and did all the numbers and all the measurements and you can't just go to a trailer yard and buy a trailer. And I mean, this thing had to be completely fitted and stuff. So the idea is that is coming May. So we will have that ready to go in May. But that did not stop us from starting our services. As you can see here today, this is actually the podcast trailer's mobile setup that we have here today. And that is, yeah. I mean, so we, man.
Dude,
it's really
y'all
good.
come a ways. Like, you have to understand sound and science, and like, Houston's telling me about this stuff. He's like, no, I really thought about how do I build an audio trailer that will represent what Sydney and I's vision is, and then I need somebody to put life to that. And then they do.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing. Like, it's not like, let's just go build a trailer. That's not what's happening. If it was just build a trailer, he could have done that. There's so much going on with this.
Yeah, so like the background to that was last May. So I'm a former worship ministry. I used to be a worship pastor, and God's always called me to ministry, and that's always been a big part of my life. I'm still involved in a way, but more like volunteer. I don't do the staff. I'm not on the staff level anymore. I just, I didn't feel like, at least I'm not in the season for that right now. And so, instead of staying on staff and being involved at that level, I decided to step back into the marketplace and kind of try to do a couple things that I've been passionate about all my life. And some of those things included like construction and low voltage work. I've always been hands-on. I've always wanted to just get something done. And so with all that happening, Sydney came to me one day, and she's written several books, and she's like a media personality herself. So she loves to get involved with media. She's very social.
And she's here behind the scenes
she
now,
is here behind the
running
scenes.
all of this.
She's completely brilliant.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm very thankful for her and all that she is able to not just contribute, but to also be helpful, hands-on. She's very clever and brilliant. Yes. And I'm very thankful for her that God put her in my life. We have a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and we don't have kids yet. So, we've got some extra space in the house. So I was like, you know what? I will build you a podcast studio. And so I started doing that, and I was like envisioning the whole thing, and we put 2 and 2 together. And I know the equipment background, and I definitely love the latest and greatest AV has to offer, because there's some companies out there that really have, they have light years ahead of just what they're doing. And so I started building this thing, and while I'm building the studio in the house, I'm like, I wonder if there's any kind of way I could monetize this to turn this into like a career. And so it came to, I was like, I started thinking about, I was just there. I was like, let's monetize this in some way. And so I started looking up to see about how much rent was in like a strip mall space. So, like your typical suburban, where like a Tom Thumb or a Walmart would be.
Right.
Just a little, one of those new, or it doesn't even have to be new, just a studio space.
Yeah, but how much is rent?
Oh, man. So it was at that moment where I saw what the number was, and I was like,
and you fainted.
And that dream died quick.
Yes.
And so it wasn't until later that I was really, I didn't want it to die like that. I didn't want the price of rent to offset me and be like, oh, you can't do, like,
to hold you back.
Exactly. To hold me back. And I felt like God was really calling me to do something with this, because it's like everything that I've ever done. Like, I've been in the trucking business. I've been in worship ministry. I've been in construction. It's like all the things that I've ever done, like marrying up in one. And my most recent tenure as a worship pastor, we were part of a mobile church. So it was like a setup, tear down. How it was is we kept all of our equipment in a mobile trailer and we took it to like an elementary school on a Sunday morning. We would take all the stuff out of the trailer, go in, set it all up, have church, tear it all down, put it back on the trailer, take it all home.
Till next
It's a
Sunday.
lot.
Till next Sunday. And it was that way every single Sunday,
Yeah.
you know, until the congregation got big enough and they decided to, you know, build a church. But I don't know. I was really intrigued by the mobile model of that. And I was like, this is ministry, you know?
on.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, we are called to go. You know, we are called to go out and be
Right.
sent. And so that's where I was like, I don't know. I was like, I've got this podcasting studio idea and I have this background of like trucking. And I know that you could put stuff in a trailer and trailers are like mobile homes.
Mad scientist. I'm going to marry them.
Hey, I was up all night long.
The wheels turning.
The wheels were cranking and thus the idea of the podcast trailer was born.
Wow.
I was up all night, maybe till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure if I really went to sleep. If I did, it was only for 30 minutes or something like that.
I relate.
I waited for Sid to wake up. She woke up, and the first thing I said was, "What do you think of this?" And I just like maybe gave it like the 30-second, you know, rig rundown. And she was like, "I think that's the greatest idea you've ever had." And so that's where I knew that that was the Holy Spirit that was over me. And I was like, "Okay, God, I'll do it."
All of the things coming together in a really beautiful way.
Yeah.
And I used to work in television, and I was telling Thomas when I came in that your setup looked like ours that we had in these, you know, $1 million studios, but it's smaller and just the quality is there, just as high. So really, really impressive. So you're not only going to have the trailer, but you also can come to a location and set up a podcast or a live stream for people. Tell me about that. How does that work?
So as it stands right now, before the trailer comes, and that'll be the flagship version of the business. But right now we offer the mobile podcast setup. So we call it, so we have 3 different services right now that we call it. We have the podcast trailer that's coming, the podcast setup, which is what you see here today, and then the podcast studio. So that's a whole nother thing, and we'll get to that. But the podcast setup, which is what we're doing right here, is we bring all of the equipment to you wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are, by the way. You could be in a field, and we could set it up. Just load it into the back of our pickup. We take all the equipment to you. We set it all up, and you have a podcast. And this is how we're doing it here. So that is the mobile podcast setup. Anybody that wants that, that's how we're doing that. And then the podcast studio is we can also build custom podcast studios in your home, in your office, wherever. Like, we do the whole project. Matter of fact, we had some guys out in Weatherford that wanted to have, that was like the first thing to us, was they wanted to have their own podcast studio built. Because they were starting this podcast that was they were really inspired by Charlie Kirk, and they wanted to kind of continue that kind of going, and so it was really cool to hear them and their idea on the phone and how they wanted it to be, you know, very warm and inviting. But they were like, "Houston, we want you to come out and we want you to build this studio." And I was like, "Sure." And so, you know, new to me, but I've been in construction and I have friends that are general contractors as well. And so that's one of the, I do all the tech and the AVL, which that stands for audio, video, and lighting. So us as the podcast trailer, we'll handle that. But I'll bring in friends that are general contractors. That's another thing. Like, we like to connect with other general contractors that maybe have different ideas in their head that can coordinate with the customers. And what they do is they build the pretty, they build the set essentially, and we come and do the AVL like you see here. But that's the podcast studio. But I was talking about the Weatherford one. They wanted us to come in and build one from the ground up, and they had this like little like family kind of compound area on their, and it was, I don't know, they
Their
had
estate on the land way out there.
yeah, they had like 5 acres of land, and they were like, can you build like I know this, first they wanted us to go into their shop, and they were like, "Can you do anything with this?" And I was like, "Yeah, you could." It was like old, but it needed a lot of love and a lot of work, and it needed a lot, it needed a lot done to it.
Electrical.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
What I'm
important.
thinking real quick. I'm like, first thing is you need some electrical.
Oh man, we could do that too, of course. That was
Right.
definitely an option. But I think ultimately what it came down to was we want to see if you're able to actually build a structure that is its own studio. And so I was like, let's go, man.
Let's do it.
What an exciting project.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And so I brought out my buddy who's a general contractor. We went out there together. He represented us, and we went out there and we scoped for a concrete slab to be poured, like a shed to be built with spray foam insulation, you name it, just everything to kind of dampen the sound and everything. And then we come in and do the AVL, get electrical tied to it, internet, and the last thing is put a little on-air light outside on the window.
That makes it
Sweet.
official.
Hey, don't bother them. They're podcasting.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do that too. So those are the three things, and more to come too. We also offer real estate photography, real estate videography, drone work. We do that too. So we're basically we're not just the podcast trailer. That's our name, and we love it. But we're a fully fledged mobile production company. So we'll do it all.
So it sounds like really you're taking people's ideas or creativity and bringing it to life, making it accessible for
Yes.
them, essentially. That's really exciting. And Thomas, tell me a little bit about Denton City Lifestyle for our viewers. How does the model work? Because it's a little bit different than some news outlets I've been with or different magazines.
Truth.
Yeah.
City Lifestyle has been around 16 years now. And City Lifestyle's had a really good chance with 240 publications across the nation to sort out what works and what doesn't. If you're going to go into marketing, you're going to want somebody that's got some knowledge about what that is and what have you done in market that bred good success. So what City Lifestyle does is they come in and they go, we want to cater to those who understand that you're worthy of something really nice. So from the moment you touch our cover, it feels like suede leather. To the fact that you look at how we use white space in a magazine, how we don't overload it with too many things, how we only partner with like 3 in each industry. Because if you're going to get a bid, you'll probably get 2 to 3. So we don't need more than about 3 in our magazine. It's exclusive. Then we mail that to the higher end homes. So if your home on that route falls in that $530,000, $560,000 and up, we're going to send you a publication. And we're going to send that to 500 businesses, to 6,500 homes. So it is exclusive and it's niche-y. And we know that we're niche-y. But we're going to people who either own their own business, they're decision makers, they may even run the marketing, right? But we're trying to cater to that network. But then what do you do with that in your magazine? What sets you apart? Our magazine is going to do everything from a city scene where I'm actually who's who do you know, to a recommendation in a city list, to a business monthly highlighting new businesses coming, to actual advertisement space that you have in there, or the stories that our amazing Jessica writes. These things are coming together to knit a uniform continuity, beautiful publication that goes out and sets a standard that's above a newspaper. Newspapers are great. They give you news. I'm not here to give you news. I'm here to tell stories about this community that need to be told. Now, if you're just going to do print, you're going to miss a lot of audience. So we're going to couple that. We have a digital platform where you can see the whole magazine, fully digital. We'll even map the businesses so you know where to go. If you're hard to find, we literally put you on the map. You can share our articles. You can share the publication. You can link it to your profiles. When you hashtag us, we tag you in our Insta, in our Facebook. Now we're working in community. We want a partnership. If you want to buy an ad space, it's a transaction. So understand, if I walk into a store and I go, I want to buy an iced tea, I buy an iced tea and I walk out. I had a problem. I was thirsty. What was the solution? I wanted tea. You sold it to me. Thanks. But it's transactional. The deal's done and I moved on. Did we build relationship? I want relationship.
Right.
So in partnership, what happens is I want to know your story because I want to talk about you everywhere I go. Here comes my wife. She's amazing, beautiful, brilliant, and she's at every networking event in this area. She represents Denton City lifestyle. You may not be able to go, but she does. And if she can't go, my amazing editor Jessica might be there representing Denton City lifestyle. So now when the community is saying, hey, what I need is somebody help me with a podcast. Well, why are you not talking to the podcast trailer? Well, I heard about this other company. I don't know that company. I know them because I have a relationship and it becomes personal. Do you want to go to a restaurant that you saw, or do you want to go to a restaurant that was referred? The referral carries something. City Lifestyle is putting our brand on you, referring you, saying vetted, known, trusted. That's what we do. And it sets us apart. And now we're able to take a full social media, mighty production, and add it to our print, where we have a white glove service where we'll not only develop your ad, we'll make sure your ad stays fresh, run it for you on Insta and Facebook, and then give you a dashboard where all you got to do is log in and all your metrics are there. What's my click-through rate? How many impressions did I get today? What's my growth? What did that lead to? And we'll send you snapshots of that. I want to be someone in the community that says, I'm partnering with you because I succeed when you do. I don't want a transaction that says, thank you for giving me the opportunity just to advertise and move on. I want a transaction that says, how do I celebrate you in story, in pictures, online, in networking, where I go, on a podcast? Why not take it to the next level? That's what makes Denton City Lifestyle unique. And those of you who have met my wife know I'm married up and she's amazing and she carries an energy and a beauty and a Holy Spirit everywhere she goes. We are connectors. You hit it. We're connectors. We constantly are listening. What do you need, man? Oh, you need a med spa? Because you should be at Be Whole Wellness Center because I know them and I know their heart. It's a connection.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a friend and say, who would you recommend for this? And you know it's going to be a top tier business. That's what Denton Lifestyle is.
Exactly.
It's fantastic.
Man, you know, I was thinking, who's going to paint that podcast trail? I was like, True Hue Painting.
Right.
Because they're amazing. It's those kinds of things because it's somebody that I know and I trust who's local. And guess what? They have a story to tell.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Thomas and Houston. We have more to talk about because you two are actually teaming up with each other to make some really big things happen in Denton and Lake City.
Fun things, right? Fun things coming.
That's right.
So make sure you catch our next podcast with Denton City Lifestyle and the podcast trailer. We'll see you next time.